What's going to be the price of Bitcoin in 10 to 15 years?
To the moon. I think with this new technology for money, we can do a lot more. Bitcoin can do a lot more that gold couldn't do. So gold is hard to transfer, hard to carry, hard to send internationally. It can't be used as a transaction currency where Bitcoin can. So I think cryptocurrencies we can do microtransactions, we can do large transactions. So there's a lot of things that crypto can do that gold cannot do. So Bitcoin should be way larger.
Bitcoin will skyrocket to the moon and will outgrow gold before we know it. That's the latest word from Chanpeng Zhao, the co-founder and former CEO of Binance. Bitcoin is unlocking possibilities that gold simply cannot match. Unlike gold, which is heavy, hard to transfer, and impractical for global transactions, Bitcoin excels as a borderless, digital currency. It's easy to send, lightweight, and efficient, making it a much more versatile option for both microtransactions and large-scale transfers. With these benefits in mind, Changpeng Zhao believes that Bitcoin will be much larger than gold in the near future. Make sure to stick around until the end of the video as Zhao reveals more insights about Bitcoin. Also guys, if you want to stay most up to date on the crypto world, I send out a daily 5-minute crypto newsletter that covers expert predictions, on-chain data breakdowns, and breaking news, all for free. Click the first link in the description, enter your email, and join 50,000 plus others to become a better crypto investor right now. Now here's Changpeng Zhao on why Bitcoin is set to surge.
I think we're going to see a lot more use cases right now. So right now, people still view Bitcoin as an investment asset to a large extent. So people talk about price, people talk about 100K. People look at it as an asset type or investment asset. It's really the utility that I think we will see in the next decade or decade and a half. So I think it's a future of money. So it should be used as a utility. So I think later on we shouldn't be calling Bitcoin. It's just money. So I think people like. Is it Bill Gates who said people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years? So I think within 10 years or so, 5-10 years, I think we're now seeing nation states accumulating Bitcoin and strategic reserves, and that will increase the price further potentially, and that almost mathematically. And then we will see more use cases out of it. I think today we're around 5 to 10% adoption. So we're still before what we call crossing the chasm, which is usually around 20% or so. So I think in a few years, we will reach more mainstream adoption, where we will reach 50, 70% of the population. We're probably never going to reach 100% of the population until 20, 30 years later, because there's an older generation that may, my mom doesn't really know how to use cell phones very well. Right, so I think it will take a few generations to reach 100% adoption. As you said, it has many advantages over gold, and gold is not a limited asset. People control the supply of gold by not mining it, but there's a lot more, and we don't know how much they are. And with Bitcoin, we know exactly how sacred it is, and there's not a whole lot left. And it's easier to carry, it's easier to spend, it's easier to use. So there's so much more, and we should not estimate the potential of a new asset type or new industry by using old industries. Uber you shouldn't estimate the market cap of Uber using taxis. They can do a lot more. I think with this new technology for money, we can do a lot more. Bitcoin can do a lot more that gold couldn't do. So gold is hard to transfer, hard to carry, hard to send internationally. It can't be used as a transaction currency where Bitcoin can. So I think cryptocurrencies we can do microtransactions, we can do large transactions. So there's a lot of things that crypto can do that gold cannot do. So Bitcoin should be way larger. I think finally we are seeing smart leadership. I mean, it's this is the most simple thing, or most effective thing to do, right? So you have a limited supply asset. That's a very hard asset. And then if you can print money to buy this, that's the simplest thing to do today. And the earlier you do that, the better. The last guy who does it doesn't reap the benefit. So, and then there are guys like us who are normal people that we don't have the ability to print money to buy the asset. We have to use our own money to buy it. We have to earn money to buy it. So, I think it's very smart for the U.S. to be doing this. And This also have a knock-on effect to other countries in the world. If US is doing this, then every other country will have to do this. So I think it's fantastic. I would say it's like, do you want the future of money? Right? So if you care about your money, then you should care about the future technology for money. This is the future money. If you don't want it, then you're going to be poor in the future. So I think that's a pretty simple pitch. Number one is in terms of countries adopting it, I think the smaller countries will adopt it first. But I'm actually very surprised that US is moving forward first. So this shows that the US Constitution has some really interesting mechanisms, innovations built in. The leadership can change, and the thought leadership can change as well together with a leadership change. So that's fantastic to see from a country perspective, especially from the largest country in terms of power. But now I'm seeing, to be very frank, in the last month or so, the other countries are still changing slowly. Countries are very large organisms. They are large organizations, right? They have a lot of different. Other than the U.S., where you can have a 180-degree change, in other countries, unless you have that kind of mechanism built in, then you have a lot of different people to convince to change. Governments have a lot of different departments, a lot of different offices, etc. So what I see still is like the guys who were pro-crypto before are still moving faster, like here, in the UAE, in Bahrain, in Bhutan, in some other parts of the world, in Asia, etc. So I think the countries that are previously pro-crypto are moving faster now because with US becoming positive to crypto, now there's competition. There's competition for talent, there's competition for companies, there's competition for funding, there's competition for innovation, which is great because the more, then that will promote governments to provide a better atmosphere for people to innovate. So this is good. Yeah.
Bitcoin recently hit the highly anticipated 100,000 mark, and the Asia-Pacific region is making waves as a global leader in cryptocurrency adoption. Countries in this region are showing rapid growth in crypto use, with nations like Indonesia and institutions across Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore leading the charge. Indonesia, for instance, saw over $30 billion in crypto transactions in just 10 months of 2024, a staggering 350% growth compared to the previous year. Major moves like Hong Kong's ZA Bank offering retail crypto trading and Japanese firms integrating crypto payment systems are making digital currencies more accessible than ever. These advancements are laying the foundation for a broader range of use cases, from payments to institutional investments. Now let's go back to more exciting outlooks from Changpeng Zhao.
I think China is less transparent in terms of what the policies are and what they do behind the scenes in terms of what assets are they accumulating or not accumulating. So far, there's no news about Chinese government accumulating Bitcoin right now. But it's not to say that there's some department that could buy it or not buying it, right? So far, there's not been too much public information. I think there's a lot. Trump has not got in office yet, and the strategic Bitcoin reserve has not been activated yet. So I think as soon as that actually happens, we will see what other countries do. So I think the other countries, because they don't have this sort of democracy debate thing going on, they're less telepathing their intentions. Where some countries like UAE, they have always been pro-crypto. So they already have a Bitcoin reserve. They've been mining Bitcoin. Bhutan has been mining Bitcoin. Other countries, they're pretty public about it. I think China so far, based on my information, there's been less information. But so far, they have not opened up crypto exchange registrations. There's no regulatory framework right now. But at the same time, though, China can move really, really fast when they want to. So this is the difference between a democracy and a sort of aligned leader, like a powerful leadership, where when the top leader says go this way, there's no debate. Whereas U.S. have to go through this debate process back and forth. Luckily, we're now on the right side of the debate. I think China's quite smart in the sense that they want to use Hong Kong as the sandbox for crypto to see how it works. And Hong Kong has some competition with Singapore. So they always want to one-up each other in terms of how pro-innovation they are, in terms of tracking talent, etc. There's also a drain in terms of funding talent from Hong Kong during COVID periods. So now Hong Kong has to work really hard to attract those people back. And Singapore has benefited quite a bit from COVID in Asia. Quite a lot of rich guys from China went to Singapore. So Singapore, although now, because it's a financial leader in Asia, it's actually quite conservative in terms of crypto regulations. I think Singapore was pro-crypto like 3-4 years ago, but then certain things happened. Like sovereign fund invested in the FTX. That didn't go well. So they're a bit more cautious right now. But we're seeing that competition happening still. Hong Kong is a test bed, but I think Hong Kong's regulation is still somewhat restrictive in terms of number of coins exchanges can list. Japan went through that. 7 years ago, Japan approved exchange registrations, but they had a very strict limit on what coins can be listed on the exchange. Because of that, 7 years ago, in 2017, when we first started, if you look at the world's top 10 exchanges, 5 of them are Japanese. Now, a few years later, they were not in the top 100. So now they're changing their regulations again. They opened up the listing framework. So Hong Kong still have the restrictive listing framework, just as a simple example. So I think over time, Hong Kong will catch up, will realize that that's not enough to attract businesses. When I spoke with some regulators here, they mentioned, look, if you make a framework, the key is not to, the benchmark is not to say, hey, how strict we are. It's to say, hey, does anybody come? Right? If you make a framework that's super strict and you don't get any business, then the framework doesn't help you. So, right? As any regulator, your job is not to block everything. It's to encourage economic growth in the healthy way. So that's a benchmark. So I think Hong Kong, though, because it's kind of viewed as a China sandbox, it can change quickly. I think Hong Kong has some advantages. There was this false concept or misunderstood fear about Bitcoin is disruptive, crypto is disruptive traditional financial industries, to banks, to payment service providers. But that's completely not true. The banks should adopt this new technology. Otherwise, if they don't adopt it, it's disruptive to them. So when there's a better way to do things, and if you don't use it and just try to ignore it, then you will disrupt yourself. You'll become irrelevant over a period of time. And that innovation is going to happen regardless. So I think that's the wrong mentality that people have, which is a fear that many people have. The other misconception is, crypto is used for money laundering, etc. If you look at the percentage of illicit transactions in crypto, it's actually much, much smaller than in traditional finance. Whereas crypto is like completely traceable, it's actually more transparent, it's easier to track, and the tools are getting way, way better. And whereas in traditional financial institutions, you have to look at isolated data pools in banks in different countries, etc. It's actually much harder to track. So I think the people are starting to understand these misconceptions. Crypto is a superior technology for money. It is a superior technology for, transactions. So I think all of this is happening. For the people who are in doubt, now Mr. Trump probably fixed most of the doubt, thanks to you probably. For the foreseeable future, Bitcoin will continue to be the reserve currency globally, not just in crypto, just globally, right? Because it is the highest market cap, and that itself will have the network effect to continue to be the reserve currency. And then it's also the most decentralized. It's also the most secure in terms of hashing power, etc. So so I think that will go a very long way. I don't see it changing on the horizon yet, but. No, anything could happen in the future. Bitcoin, Internet 1.0. There was Internet 2, Internet. Well, now we call it ourselves Web 3. So but right now I don't see anything changing. So I'm a very, very strong supporter for Bitcoin.
Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have the potential to revolutionize how we think about money. From instant cross-border payments to enabling digital economies, Bitcoin offers functionality that gold was never designed for. Zhao believes that with these advantages, Bitcoin's role as a transformative monetary asset positions it to surpass gold in both utility and scale. Now, don't forget, if you want guidance through the exciting but sometimes unpredictable world of cryptocurrency, our daily 5-minute crypto newsletter is here to help. Don't pass up the chance to stay updated and make informed choices in the crypto market. The link is in the description below. Anyway guys, hope you all enjoyed today's video and that it provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next one. And as always, all the best.